Hey, what is up YouTube? It's me Andrew here. I'm going to do a quick comparison between the all-new late 2013 13-inch MacBook Pro low-end model versus the late 2013 15-inch high-end model. This is just a basic comparison between Apple's least expensive MacBook Pro and Apple's most expensive MacBook Pro that are pre-configured from Apple. Alright, let's start out with specs on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. You get an Intel Core i5-4258U running at 2.4 GHz with a turbo boost up to 2.9 GHz, 4 GB of RAM, 128 GB PCIe based flash storage, Intel Iris graphics. Alright, next up let's take a look at the 15-inch MacBook Pro high-end model. This model features an Intel Core i7-4850HQ processor running at 2.3 GHz with a turbo boost up to 3.5 GHz, 16 GB of RAM, 512 GB PCIe based flash storage, and both of these laptops feature two USB 3.0 ports, two Thunderbolt 2 ports, and an HDMI output. Alright, first section, let's take a look at the boot up speed on both of these laptops. Here you got the 15-inch MacBook Pro on the left and the 13-inch MacBook Pro on the right. Alright, let's get started. Alright, both of these laptops were started at the same time, but for some reason, the 13-inch came up first. Alright, Apple logo here. Still booting up. And boom, the 13-inch is launched. And the 15-inch is launched right after. So in this test, 13-inch was slightly faster than the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Just a disclaimer, both of the login items on both of these laptops were clear, so it wouldn't affect boot up speed. Alright, next up let's take a look at the size comparisons between the 13-inch MacBook Pro and the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Both of these come in at a height of 0.71 inches, with the width, depth, and weight becoming the major differences. The width on the 13-inch comes in at 12.35 inches, on the 15-inch is 14.13 inches, and the depth on the 13-inch is 8.62 inches, compared to the 15-inch of 9.73 inches. Next up, let's take a look at the connections and ports on both the 13-inch and the 15-inch MacBook Pro. Here you got your MagSafe 2 connector, two Thunderbolt 2 connections, USB 3.0, 3.5mm headset port, and on the 13-inch MacBook Pro, you got your dual mics right here on the side. With the 15-inch MacBook Pro, you have your dual mics under the speaker grill. And here's the view from the backside. Alright, let's take a look at the other sides on the ports. Let me line it up here in the front. Alright, starting from the right, you got USB 3.0 port, HDMI output, and SDXC card reader. Alright, let me spin the laptops back to the front. Let's take a look at the depth and see how much of a difference we have compared to the 15-inch MacBook Pro. So the 13-inch is slightly over an inch smaller than the 15-inch MacBook Pro. And the width on the 15-inch MacBook Pro is 1.78 inches longer. Alright, next up let's compare both of these Retina displays. Both Retina displays feature an LED backlit display with IPS technology. The 13-inch features a 13.3-inch display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600, giving you 227 pixels per inch. On the 15-inch model, you get a 15.4-inch display with a resolution of 2880 by 1800 that gives you 220 pixels per inch. Alright, next up let's talk about the all-new PCIe based flash storage system. On the baseline 13-inch MacBook Pro, you get the 128GB version, and the 15-inch high-end model, you get the 512GB version. On the 13-inch MacBook Pro, using Blackmagic speed test, I was able to get 311.8 for the write speed and 708 for the read speed. And on the 15-inch MacBook Pro, it more than doubles in the write speed, coming in at 708.3 and 728.7 for the read speed. Next up, let's test out some Handbrake video conversions on the 13-inch MacBook Pro. I'm going to be converting a 2GB 1080p MOV file. Let's see the results. So the dual-core i5 chip finished the video conversion in 7 minutes and 31 seconds. For the 15-inch MacBook Pro, we're going to use the same file and same settings. Alright, let's see the results. With the 15-inch MacBook Pro, video conversion was much faster. Video converted in 3 minutes and 26 seconds. You can thank the Intel Core i7 quad-core processor. Next up, let's test out Geekbench 3 performance scores. This is the 64-bit version. Let's see the results. So with the 15-inch MacBook Pro, single core score was 3,459, multi-core score was 13,535. With the 13-inch MacBook Pro, single core score was 2,951 and 6,300 for multi-core score. Alright, next up let's test out the all-new Intel Iris graphics for the 13-inch MacBook Pro. and the all-new Intel Iris Pro graphics for the 15-inch MacBook Pro. For the OpenGL test, we're going to be using Cinebench R15. For the 13-inch MacBook Pro, your only option is the integrated Intel Iris graphics. For the 15-inch high-end model, you get the Intel Iris Pro graphics, as well as the dedicated Nvidia GT 750M graphics card with 2GB of memory, which should be able to run many of today's top games for 2013. For the 15-inch Iris Pro graphics, you got 27.84 frames per second and 21 frames per second on the base 13-inch MacBook Pro. Next up, let's test out the 15-inch MacBook Pro Nvidia GT 750M graphics card. For this test, let's see how much of a difference it is compared to the Intel Iris Pro graphics on the 15-inch MacBook Pro. And the results are in. You got 53.86 frames per second, which is more than double the Intel Iris as well as the Iris Pro graphics. And finally, let's get to the CPU Cinebench R15 scores here. For the 13-inch, I got 256 CBs. And for the 15-inch MacBook Pro, I got 604 CB, which is a massive improvement thanks to the quad-core Intel i7 processors. Alright, thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please click on that like button and please subscribe for more upcoming videos. Alright, thanks guys. Peace.